Of course, just one win, something to build off of. But I think the big thing for TFC is that one of your acquisitions, who I think, honestly, I mean, we said it at the time, this might be one of the better underrated acquisitions, because Salloi was always really good on an SKC, and maybe had he been in a bigger market, you would have heard a lot more about him. Of course, if you watch the Western Conference a bit more, you would have rated him quite highly, as some have. And certainly from a Whitecaps perspective, like, Salloi scored some annoyingly good goals from a Whitecaps perspective. I remember seeing a few, like, he's been around for a while too. Like, he's predates the Alan Polito days, and that era is long over in Kansas. So good on him for stepping up, and for TFC just to have a bit of structure, to look organized, to keep a clean sheet, to not look so chaotic. Granted, playing the Whitecaps maybe in hindsight was a reflection as much on the Whitecaps as it was TFC. The Whitecaps tend to make, what is it? Bad teams look horrible, average teams look bad, and, good teams look average. So for TFC, unfortunately, kind of get caught in that. But against a Cincinnati team that is good but flawed, TFC were able to stay organized, stay disciplined, took their chances, and that's a trademark and hallmark road win. And I think that's probably the biggest thing about this weekend. If there was all three Canadian teams playing at home and they won, so what? It's MLS, that happens. The fact that all three won in a row was pretty impressive, especially for TFC based on their first few weeks and how they went.
And when you look at this TFC team as well, Daniel Salloi, 5 years ago, he was an MLS MVP finalist as well in 2021. And it was in that period where, you don't really remember much of 2020, 2021, of the weird COVID games. And of course, I think it was the 2020 season that I guess TFC played all of the Canadian games, and, that blocks out of your memory a lot. But when you look at where this TFC's team stands now, you bring in Josh Sargent to this team. How good can they be, and will we see those seat cushions flying? Because I love that promotion this week.
Yeah, let's just hope the weather cooperates, because it might be hard for the sheets, the cushions to be flying if it's bad and cold and it's a grummy game. Think of like that Whitecaps TFC game last year was 0-0. You were at that one, freezing your everything off. You were freezing. It was all going. So we'll hope for that. But what I will say for TFC, and it's something we said at the time, and I think this just kind of confirms it. Maybe in the first few weeks, you're kind of worried, okay, maybe you overrated them. TFC's starting 11 is going to be good. Like, that's not a worry for them this year. When you see Salloi on the wing, Mihailovic, we're not even talking about it. He had another fantastic game, and he's really been dialing it up, and he'll be pleased to have some support, and Josh Sargent, but even the new striker, Emilio Arzabal, like, there's something there. There's something going on with what he can bring. Cifuentes in the midfield, in the right games, the right support. Walker Zimmerman at the back. Like, there's a balanced spine. Richie Larea, of course, you can't forget. Really, the biggest worries for TFC were gonna be, what's the depth look like? What happens when you're getting into the season? You start to get injuries, you start to get international absences. It helps that they have nothing to play for, like no Leagues Cup to jam up their schedule, Champions Cup. It's just this and Can Champ. But with such a home-heavy schedule, we were talking about this, they have a lot of road games to come, and that's where you're really going to get your depth tested. So for TFC, I guess it's encouraging that they're starting to get their full lineup, because maybe that'll allow them to take advantage of these home games, and then maybe in the summer they reinforce their depth so they can handle those road games. But certainly it showed what they can be when they're starting to get these pieces in.